Have you ever wondered what is resilience? Have you ever seen one of those inflatable punching bags that always pops back up and you hit it, kick it, smack it all you want, and that little guy just won't back down? Now, that's resilience. According to the Oxford Dictionary, resilience is defined as the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties. In other words, you may also say to bounce back up from a challenge. Well, that being said, how is a resilient person like? What defines someone as being resilient? And what are some of the traits of a highly resilient person? Valerie Burton is a life coach, author, motivational speaker, and entrepreneur. She is the founder of the Coaching and Positive Psychology Institute. This message is excerpted from the book Life Coaching for Successful Women: Powerful Questions, Practical Answers. Here she talks about the 5 key resilient traits one needs to have right now. According to Burton, resilient people are flexible thinkers, optimistic, authentic, they use their strength, and they are people who reach out. Research shows that resilient people think differently. They have a set of skills, sometimes learned, other times innate, that allows them to persevere, manage stress, and triumph in the face of challenges. According to the Singaporean Ministry of Education website, some of the 21st century competencies listed down in a globalized world has core values such as resilience, and resilience is highly regarded as one of the important core values. But what is the relationship between resilience and learning? And what happens if we put technology and resilience and learning in the picture? It is arguable that technology makes one less resilient in learning. But how? Good evening, I'm your news anchor, and for today's breaking news alert. In our first headlines, in a survey done by the University of Waterloo, nearly half of the students were distracted by technology. In a recent study analyzed the perspective of both students and instructors in regards to use of technology in the classroom setting. A recent study found the use of technology in class, such as laptops or phones, for non-educational purposes was distracting to almost half of the students, while others surveyed believe technology in the classroom is unavoidable. The study was published in the Canadian Journal for the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning and surveyed 478 students and 36 instructors at the University of Waterloo. Of the graduate students surveyed, 49% said that the use of technology for reasons not stated to class of all tasks used was distracting to them, however. Students actually know and realize the use of technology that has a negative impact on people around them, and when used for off-task purposes like browsing the web. They still feel that technology is still necessary when the classes are not engaging enough. Like, for example, being in a large lecture hall or when the professor is what they called boring. And here we say that technology is a distraction. And back to Singapore, a girl was caught by the MOE photographer secretly using her phone in class during a lesson observations. And some of the netizens were expressing their views on the web. They say technology causes distractions in learning. Yes, because there is this myth of multitasking. Now, cell phones and laptops do affect students' grade, but students can't multitask as well as they say that they can. But even so, studies have shown that the splitting attention between lecture and cell phone or laptop use actually hinders long-term retention, and actually those in class will suffer from others' usage of the devices as well. Even lecturers has proclaimed that in the recent years, students were starting to ignore them and will focus on their device. Students feel that they can divide their attention between their devices as well as the materials being covered in class, and this is nothing bothering. Instead, this is called multitasking. So those are just one of the occasional cases in human connection where our intuitions mislead us. Now what happens is that sometimes the professor students will go to class not remembering what was covered the week before. And we can attribute that to multitasking. Why does technology makes one less resilient to learn? Number one, it diminishes cognitive performance as one is distracted. In a study conducted by Stanford University, researchers found that heavy multitasking appears correlated to diminished working memory and sustained attention. Statistics had shown that only 2.5% of the people has the ability to multitask. Number 2. Interruptions keep one from concentrating on important tasks. Research conducted by Microsoft and workplace expert Gloria Mark of UC Irvine shows that after each interruption, it takes around 23 minutes to refocus on the task at hand. Perhaps this explains the part of the reason why it is not easy to stay focused on a single task. Number 3. Digital distraction addiction. As Adam Eltler recounts in his book Irresistible, many of us have developed a behavioral addiction to our devices. Each time we launch social media, we encounter something new, a new list of messages or a new feed of updates. This triggers a small burst of dopamine in various brain regions. At the same level of neurobiology, it is the same as the gambler pulling the lever on a slot machine, wondering what will happen next. It does make one wonder, when he or she encounters a problem, would he first approach his physical teacher or his new teacher Google? Give you say until like that, but got so bad meh? Of course not. Let's see what happened in Singapore in the midst of battling COVID-19.
So we want to make sure that while we are handling this situation, we have to significantly reduce our movement and interactions in the coming days. And to this end, MOE will move towards home-based learning for primary school, secondary school, JCs, and Millennium Institute students, including students from the special ed schools, starting from Wednesday, 19th of May 2021, until the end of the school term on Friday, 28th of May 2021, and thereafter the school children will be on the school June holidays. Now we understand, of course, this shift may cause
COVID-19 has reshaped our attitudes towards learning and learning with technology. The nationwide lockdown has caused one to be more resilient in his or her learning. Transiting to fully online lessons within a short amount of time, students now attend live Zoom lessons online. And that went on for 2 years when there was a spike of COVID-19 infected cases. In Singapore, teachers are creating learning packages to ensure the continuum of learning online to their best. The Student Learning Space, SLS, has really come in handy during the circuit breaker. Well, of course, the SLS was not developed as a contingency plan for addressing learning needs during a pandemic. But when COVID-19 struck, the SLS was a lifesaver for many schools and teachers. Online learning has worked during the pandemic because there was no other option.
What are the assignments for today?
I have uploaded an assignment onto SLS. Please do it for your HPL day tomorrow.
Okay, do physics first.
Look at this picture and try to recreate this balancing act.
Complete this claim support question table after you finish the experiment. Cool, I want to try that. I need 2 forks, a glass cup, and a toothpick. Check. Keeps falling. How do I balance it on a pivot point? How? Did any of you manage to balance the forks? I couldn't. Shahir says balance is only achieved when CG is directly below the pivot. Let me try again. my setup was able to remain in equilibrium after I found out that the center of gravity was directly below the pivot point. If the center of gravity is directly above the pivot point, the object should balance as well. But it doesn't. Miss Rani challenged us to balance other household objects using the same principle. Okay. Miss Rani, I managed to balance these.
The effects of the pandemic has gave learning a new meaning. In certain parts of the Asia Pacific, learning has to take a back seat. Schools are still closed or partially closed or on academic break, but things are a little different in Singapore. For a learner who is eager to learn and is resilient, they just can't be stopped no matter what happens. A Straits Times article reported, spurred by COVID-19 and the changes it has brought about, most Singaporeans are picking up new skills and knowledge online. Sometimes, technology provides a limitless world of exploration and opportunity. But due to its evolving nature, it also translates to a historical unprecedented degree of distraction. The greatest advantage of technology has also the greatest disadvantage in terms of making one more resilient in learning. The problem with modern-day education system is that knowledge is evolving far too fast for us to keep up with. What we are learning today might not be relevant tomorrow. Curiosity would have led students to do a web search on topics which they are curious in. And when we talk about learning, we have to also redefine what learning means. Also, different students have different learning styles. If a student is best at learning hands-on, but they're in the classroom reading a book, they're probably not learning at their best too. Well, but technology can solve all these problems. Technology can make it fun for students to learn and make them more resilient. Perhaps with technology affordances, we can make a computer program that takes into account the students' interests, learning styles, and life goals, and use that information to make a custom curriculum based on that. The revolution of technology has transformed the way we learn. While it is not possible to create a perfect educational experience, one can turn distraction into productivity. Day by day, one should decide whether you are using technology to enhance your learning or whether you are unconsciously allowing it to dominate and distract you. The individual, a responsible human being, should manage their own quality of life creatively and critically. Now, let's be a master and not a slave of technology.